Yehudis, you crazy mother.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We are live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., Swampland, USA. You are watching the Exceptional Conservative Show on TheExceptionalConservativeshow.com, TECN TV. We have none other than the very bestest out of New York City. This young lady is not only a rising star of the GOP, but a brilliant young woman. Yehudis Gottesfeld is with us tonight. And first and foremost, as this is our recorded segment, this will be on our YouTube channel on TECN TV as well as the Exceptional Conservative Network tomorrow afternoon. So we want you to make certain that you spread the good news around the world, what we're doing here. And especially this young woman, she needs to come to Washington, D.C. because she has common sense, and you know I lack that. She has to bring some of that to Washington, D.C. First and foremost, it's Passover week, Resurrection week, major holiday period in the American and world cultures. Want to ask first and foremost, how are you all doing this particular week in New York City, and in terms of you personally, and as well those in your stat?
Yeah, it's interesting. It is Passover week, and there's a lot of preparation that goes into Passover. A lot of people were going to travel. My family and I were actually going to travel as well, and those plans have obviously been canceled. So there's a lot of preparation that now we have to do at home, and so a lot of people are shopping. Previously may have ordered and delivered to wherever you were. That's not really feasible anymore. And so a lot of people are shopping, which brings people out, and it's kind of difficult. The stores have been in overload with deliveries. It is, there is a couple days of Passover when people stay inside. So that's a good thing. You can't use your car anyway, so people will stay inside. But, we hope people will stay safe during Passover. And it may be a little bit quieter for most people, but hopefully it'll still be a nice holiday.
Exactly. And one of the things I want to get across, because I was one of those individuals who was ardently opposed to individuals telling the churches not to assemble. That should have been something that the ecclesiastical society would do on their own and make their own determinations, rather than the state forcing them to. I want to ask you, do you feel that there is an impeding on the First Amendment or infringement on our rights to worship during this time period of the coronavirus?
No, I think if there was, I think, government would make sure that didn't happen, or at least take that back, do what we can to, we have freedom of religion in this country. And I think, I believe in the government to protect that. And I think the government is doing what they can to protect that. I think the government has, and I know that the government has talked with leaders from different communities, specifically the Jewish community, and they've spoken about what's required and what's not, right? You want to make sure that whatever's required according to the religion is kept, and people can practice that. And we've been able to do that, thank God, while still being safe and protected. So that's really worked out. The administration has spoken with leaders from the community and made sure that everyone can still keep their religion and practice their religion while maintaining safe.
No. You're in New York City. We made that abundantly clear through the course of this particular conversation. And
I'm in Rockland County. A lot of my, I'm in New York.
In New York in general, but you're near, and so what is the? I mean, you went from the Knicks playing in Madison Square Garden to almost overnight absolute quiet and silence on the streets, Fifth Avenue in Manhattan and throughout the country. What is the atmosphere like in New York City as people are dealing with the grief of so many being lost?
Yeah, no, it's funny that you asked that because I just it's 9:30 now. So about 2 hours ago, I had a meeting with a Republican group in New York City. We all got together on Zoom and had a meeting, and everyone's kind of getting antsy. That's the one common denominator. Everybody, you've been inside for a while. Everyone wants to get up and get out, and that could be a concern. When you're trying to quarantine people, how do you solve the problem of them being antsy, right? How do you get them to listen? And I know they're trying to put fines now and things like that. But at the end of the day, how do you make sure that they're listening when people are really getting antsy?
Yeah. Can you encourage it? See, and this is where a lot of Americans are having their really reckoning, their just reckoning here. It was okay for you as a congressperson or you as a senator or you as a governor or mayor to encourage me to do the right thing. But punish me, it seems a little abrupt. It doesn't feel American. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. No, I feel the same way. I mean, even just being quarantined, kind of, we have freedom in this country. And a part of that is, we're able to do what we want so long as it doesn't hurt the next person,
Yeah,
right? And so, by myself going out, will it hurt someone else, right? And we've deemed that it will. That's why people are quarantined, but it just feels un-American. I kind of get where you're going with that.
yeah,
And we're, especially as Republicans, we were founded on the foundation of freedom. That's what
yeah,
our founding fathers fought for, and that's what we believe in. And so it's so against kind of our nature to be inside and being fined for not listening to the quarantine.
yeah,
So I definitely feel that. I think a lot of people feel that. But it's in a way, there's is a nice thing we see. First of all, bipartisanship, coming with the CARES Act, that was
yeah,
passed bipartisan support, and just having the local governments make more decisions. And in New York, it might not go so well because you have the Democratic leadership, but safety is of utmost concern, and we'll see kind of in a little while or maybe a little bit longer how each state plays out differently.
yes.
Um, but there's kind of having seeing the local governments do things as opposed to the federal government is always a nice thing.
There is a call by the Bill Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others throughout the world that the United States is doing the wrong thing, allowing the individual state governors to make decisions on a lockdown. And there have been those, including Dr. Fauci from the CDC, that believe that the president should do a national lockdown over the next 2 weeks. Do you believe that he has that authority, that he has that right? Do you believe it would be a right decision on his part to do so? Or do you believe that Dr. Fauci and other world leaders are asking too much of the American people?
So I'm not going to comment on the Gates family and Dr.
Mhm.
Fauci because I respect them both very much.
Yes.
I think it's just kind of a different. Um, we really have to look at the case at hand, right? These are people's freedoms, and I believe that Dr. Fauci and the Gates family know more on this than I do, and I don't want to comment on whether I think they're right or wrong because
Oh, no.
uh,
Yeah.
but, but I think that we need to look and take into considerations people's freedoms,
Yes.
and that's something that right now, especially at a time like this, is extremely, extremely important. Because one, the even though it is a time of crisis and you have to protect people and make sure that someone can't hurt someone else, you also have to kind of dance on this tightrope of our freedoms in our country and make sure that that doesn't get hurt along the way.
Exactly.
So it's a tough one. It's a tough one, and I think our lawmakers hopefully will make the right decision and protect us at the end of the day while maintaining our freedoms and not compromising that.
Exactly. Yehudis Gottesfeld is with us tonight. She's running in the 17th Congressional District of New York. Um, there were those who said that the Trump administration had a very slow start to this particular mitigation process. And that, quite frankly, If he was a little bit more omniscient and omnipresent, like the Democrats are, then he would have been able to handle this and have solved this problem when it started in October in Wuhan. I want to get your opinion. How has the Trump administration been doing, especially for the good people of New York?
Yeah, and so it's funny if you look at Trump's ratings right now with the way he's dealing with this coronavirus, he's at 60% approval now. And speaking about the closing down the borders, in the beginning, CNN and some other news channels said that he was wrong for waiting so long to close down the borders between China and Iran and other countries. And then when it came to Europe, they said he was taking too long to close down the borders. Right. So there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of politics that still try to play themselves into this. But I mean, I think the ratings show people are feeling that the president's taking care of it, and I think I believe, right? I don't know everything that's going on there, but from my perspective, I believe that this is a tough situation, and the administration has really been taking responsibility and doing the right thing by us.
Exactly. Now, in terms of the $2 trillion bailout, which is where we are right now, and we call it stimulus, but it's really bailing out the American people on a short term, and truly a short term when you look at the numbers that are being accumulated. Do you believe that that's enough money to do this? Would you recommend going back to Washington D.C. and drumming up another stimulus plan at this point?
I hope we don't need any more. The I think the administration had um, put into uh, has a plan as well in case we do need more. But I hope we don't need more. It is a lot of money, yes, but it's a necessary evil. It's one of those situations where we didn't plan it, we didn't. Uh, it's nobody's fault, and it's just one of those necessary evils. But I think that if you read the CARES Act the way it's written, I mean, it's very very intelligent.
Yeah.
It first of all reaches out to everybody and makes sure that everybody is taken care of. Around 80% of America lives paycheck to paycheck, and so that's just something that was paid attention to in the CARES Act. And giving people money is not always the best thing, but when you have a situation like this and people have no way to get food, and there's it was just extremely intelligent, as well as the kind of the um, a lot of the ways they give out money, and
Yeah.
credits and things like that. They don't incentivize it that someone would want to take advantage of it, but they actually make it so that you'll take advantage of it if you need it. But if you don't need it, and just kind of trying to play the system, you're better off playing it the straight way than taking advantage of this. So that was actually really intelligent, and I really appreciated it in the CARES Act. But I think it is a lot of money, and thank God our economy was doing really well. Imagine had our economy not been doing this well, we would really, really be hurt. But thank God our economy was doing well under this administration, and so this stimulus, CARES Act, yes, it's a necessary evil. It has to be done, but it has less of a worse effect on the economy had our economy been worse
Would you
off.
be in support of an infrastructure bill, solely infrastructure, having nothing to do with giving the Kennedy Center $35 million or funding Planned Parenthood? Would you be interested in going back and, if you were elected to office, but would you want that kind of thing to happen the next time you went back to Washington, D.C.?
Within the stimulus bill,
Yes, the next stimulus bill that they're working on, just solely
I
infrastructure.
actually, I mean, I think I'm a strong believer in free markets.
Yes.
But kind of going back to the CARES Act, I think the way it was actually really, really disturbing when the Democrats pushed off a relief bill, right? A relief bill. People were really, really struggling, and people still are. And they had to wait because the Democrats decided that they wanted certain things in this relief bill that wouldn't provide anyone relief for the coronavirus. I understand there are things we always want to get passed in policy, but when people are suffering, like, you need to take that into consideration, have some heart, and say, this is a pressing matter. This is going to get pushed through, and I won't take advantage of that. And that
Hmm.
was something that we saw the Democrats try to take advantage of that, and coming out with this rhetoric, this populist rhetoric, and that they care about people and they're out for the people. It really showed hypocrisy on their side.
Hmm. Now, the mayor of the District of Columbia, you have no influence on whatsoever. outside of this particular interview. But the mayor of the District of Columbia stated that those who live in a sanctuary state have the rights of a different healthcare system. You and I would have to fill out forms that to indicate that we have insurance and that we are who we say we are. And those who happen to be illegal aliens do not have to fill out any forms. They shall receive the treatment that they want according to the will of the state. I got to ask you, are we seeing hypocrisy with the Democrats regarding the treatment of Americans versus the treatment of illegals?
I think they've always, kind of not been. They've always picked winners and losers in that
Yes.
arena. We see it a lot. Um, so I think that's just kind of their the way they play things.
Yes.
I'm not surprised to see it come from them. But I think just in a country, you don't want to play winners and losers, right? Right now, you may be the winner, but if someone's playing winners and losers, you can be the loser tomorrow, right? Nobody,
Exactly.
even if to be the winner now, you're the winner because they want something from you. They need something from you, right? The second they don't need something from you, you can be the loser. And so you'd rather everyone just be treated fair and equally. And this way, at the end of the day, you know that you won't be hurt or disadvantaged at least.
Now, the Democrats, with the leadership of Joe Biden, um, basically have moved the Democrat National Convention, I should say Democrat Marxist National Convention in Milwaukee to August. Do you believe that the Republicans should do the very same thing in North Carolina, moving it further back?
I don't know. I think it's up to the Republicans to decide. Um, yeah, I'm not going to stick my finger in there. I think that's, I mean, it's okay. I understand that, that there's a pandemic going on and, there is a concern and people's safety comes first and however you view that. And, whatever the best path is to ensure people's safety is what should be taken.
Is this their way of politicizing the whole pandemic? Is this one of the ways of them doing it?
I don't know. A lot of people have thrown things around, and I think there's a lot of things we just don't know. A lot
Yeah.
of questions we have and speculations we have, and things that seem like, oh, this is this or that's that. And there's probably a lot going on that we don't know about. Um, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't spoken to anyone within higher ups of the DNC, so
Now,
um,
in your county, what is your campaign doing regarding the pandemic? What are your thoughts in terms of campaigning going forward towards November? What are your thoughts in terms of what you can do for the good people of Richland?
Yeah, no. So I love this question because, a lot of people, I've been talking to a lot of people who are running, and a lot of candidates have the same question. And I'm getting a lot of people calling me saying, what are you doing? We're at a loss. And I think hopefully if this can help other Republicans, kind of go forward, I think everyone has to take the best approach for their district. But I think it would be worth it, if we can help a
Yeah.
couple other Republicans in the process. So what we're doing is, I believe it's all about the people, right? At the end of the day, we're running for the seat. We're going to sit in Congress because we care about the people, because we want to help people. And every district needs representation, and that representation should be from someone who cares about the district and about the people in it. And if you really do care about the people in the district, then you need to show it, especially in a time of crisis. When people are hurting, you need to be there for them. You need to be there and show that you care for them, listen to them, hear what they need, and you know, be there for them. If you really want to represent someone, you don't desert them in their time of need. And so I think it's really important as candidates to be there for people, call up people in the district, maybe start with the elderly, see how they're doing. They might just need to talk to someone, right? Get a team of volunteers. And that's what we're doing. We're having people just check in, see how they're doing. A lot of people just need to talk. They just need a couple minutes of socializing, showing that someone cares about them. And, it goes a long way. And I think at the end of the day, you really have to tune into what the people of your district want right now and be able to provide that for them. And so
Now,
I think everyone in your district can do that.
because the criticism of most politicians is that I only see you in the church or the synagogue weeks before the election. I have never seen you before. I haven't heard from you before. And actually, not to politicize it, but humanity requires that we reach out to one another, that we love one another. And what better way to express your submission and leadership to them other than to just follow up with them, find out how things are going, especially for the elderly, because recently a number of uh, elderly persons have died of great note. Wynton Marsalis's father, and so on. And so I got to ask you here, in terms of that concern in New York, a lot of people have been made afraid uh, to to actually just reach out and touch people. Was that the purpose overall, or are we being made afraid of our government by this panic that's going on?
I don't know if we're being made afraid of our government by this. I think this is actually um, it's an issue. There's a couple of things I see coming out of this.
Yes.
Um, One of them, people spend more time with their families, which is actually really nice.
Yep.
Having people reconnect with that and realize that your family is most important and you need to take responsibility for your family. And a lot of Republican values come along with that. And I think, it's nice to have people connect with that. Um, but the pandemic really, really is an issue, and it's affected people in my family personally, and friends of mine as well. And so I
Yes.
think I view it a little bit more seriously than maybe some people in other states who haven't had it affect them and then their family personally may view it. But to me, it's very real, and
Yes.
it's definitely a pandemic. And touching people, catching the virus is just something that we really, really want to stay away from. And I think it's more of a every person has an individual responsibility to keep themselves safe and healthy and to make sure that they don't infect or give that virus to someone else if they have it. And so I think it's actually an individual responsibility and more of a every person can really, really matter and play a big role in here, as opposed to government obviously can do a lot, but it's really up to the person. I believe there was this woman from I believe China who went down to, I think it was South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
and she went to one week she went to a church and she didn't know she had the virus, and one week she went to a church. I think the next week she went to a different church, then in between then she went to a cafe and a hotel, and the masses of people that she infected, and a lot of people were infected just from that one person. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can see the value of a person, how much the impact that a person can have, but also this is more of a an individual responsibility thing, that everybody has a responsibility towards themselves, their families, and towards each other.
Exactly. Eunice, how can people support your campaign? How can people catch up with you, what you're doing in your particular district, the 17th Congressional District of New York?
Yeah, so it's actually an exciting district. We have a lot of people from the district who are following, and a lot of people outside the district who are following also. And it's really about the people. We want to hear everyone's voice. People in the district, and that we're going to represent, and then people outside of the district that have the same views and want to get on board and help out. And so you can go to yehudisforcongress.com, YEHUDIS for congress.com, and you can follow us on Twitter, social media. I think that's Facebook and Instagram. So Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We have accounts there, and it's Yehudis Gottesfeld or Yehudis for New York. And click like and subscribe, and let us know.
I got to ask you one goofy question before you go, because that's the kind of
Yeah,
levity I bring to politics.
that is.
Here's a goofy question. Uh, Before this election or this campaign, Yehudis Gottesfeld was a normal citizen. Now you're seen as a rising star in the GOP. What's the difference in your life? How do you feel about that?
That's a good question. I like that. I like that question. I still, it's funny, I still view myself as one of the people.
Yes.
A lot of people told me that, when once you win the convention, once you get onto the ballot, every step you're going to feel more distant from people. You're going to feel more, more like a politician. You're going to get full of yourself. And it's funny. I mean, like I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and like I feel like in my head I'm still just like everyone else.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot has been going on. There's obviously a lot to do, a lot of work to do. And it's been amazing to reach out to people and have so much positive support. But just in terms of me, I still feel like the same Yehudis.
There you go. That's the kind of person you want to bring to Washington. Don't change when you come, okay? Stay the same. Eunice, we enjoy you coming on every time that you're on. We look forward to you coming back next month, giving us an update about what's happening in New York. Shalom. God bless you. Have a wonderful Passover week.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it was a wonderful conversation with that young lady, Yehudis Gottesfeld, New York 17th Congressional District. You can find her at yehudisforcongress.com. You can Google her name, tweet her name. In fact, tweet and Google her name. You'll find her on Facebook as well. Definitely share this young woman's journey as she moves towards the sanctity of the Congress and representing the American people. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Ken McClinton, TECN TV president, host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, reminding you that we are a republic and not a democracy. TECN TV 2020, ladies and gentlemen. And the best in urban conservative news and talk, the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. Coming up in the next hour, we will have Biff Zeppe. We'll be talking about N95 masks, the Obama administration depletion, and Trump's new healthcare challenge. We'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after this message.